Hey guys, this is Grant Coombs III, aka Balbomb, coming to you for another video from CardRunners.com. I'm actually going to start a new series that I've been working on, or at least thinking about for quite a while, and it's going to be called my Yellow Tag series. And the only thing that's referring to is Yellow Tag is what I give for any hand that, while I'm playing a session of poker, I want to talk with you guys about, or I want to talk with my friends about, or it's something that's particularly interesting to me. That's not just something like I need to make a note on this player, or I'm having a big question about this hand that I need to consult with my friends about. So what I've been doing is actually probably, I don't know, over the last year and a half or 2 years even, I've been compiling a bunch of pages of notes on different hands for you guys. And a lot of times they can be grouped categorically into really nice groups where I can talk about them and have a bunch of hands to discuss the topic. And other times they're just sort of one-off hands that bring up an important point or just really interest me, and hopefully they'll interest you as well. So I'm definitely going to be trying to have certain topics that go on in my Yellow Tag series, but hopefully this encompasses a lot of things that you guys like about my videos. I know I've gotten a lot of comments about how they like switching it up, particularly in hand history reviews, and this is going to be a lot of that. So please, first of all, if there's a certain topic that you guys have been struggling with, definitely let me know about it, and I can at least, if I don't have a lot of hands, I can look for them, or I can at least try to incorporate it within the videos. But for right now, I'm just going to start off the video series by just sort of going over hands that interest me, and also hopefully some hands that are rather relevant to the current day and age. The first hand I'm going to talk about is definitely a one-off sort of hand, and really the only thing this is about is the importance of taking notes. I actually spent about 4 hours last night compiling the notes that I had from the last month or so, and it's really critical when you don't want to have like 20 different notes on players, and that's sometimes what happens at the end of sessions. At the end of the day, I'll always take certain notes on players, and a lot of times once you click on the dialog box, or once you click on the note box while you're trying to make a decision, a lot of times you might have 20 lines of things talking about your opponent. It's better to streamline those things into 4 or 5 more basic things, and then if you want, you can have examples at the bottom. But to have 4 or 5 general concepts about the way a player approaches the game is really critical. This player in particular is a guy that I play with a lot. I think I have over 8,000 hands on him, and there's one particular note that I made over a couple months ago that came back to play in this hand that I actually played a few days ago. Pretty standard hand, really, in that I'm always going to be isolating in this situation, and the cutoff and the button are both weaker players. Really easy situation for me just to call. The small blind comes along, probably put him on a range of something like Ace X a lot of the times, or low pocket pairs. And I made a really standard C-bet here. I think if I had something like Jacks, I actually would check back this hand a certain amount of the time, just because I believe he probably doesn't have a range that he's going to be stacking off, and I only want to get one, maybe two, or only want to get maximum of 2 streets against him. You don't want to go for the full 3 because, in a limped, isolated pot, he's probably going to be having a big hand more often than not. So I made a really standard continuation bet with my bluffing range here of $16, and he ends up calling. The turn, really blank card here, and like I said, I don't think I put him on a ton of like 9x part of range. I think he probably isolates, or I think he probably isolates 9-8 suited a lot of the times, but if he does limp it, I think he probably folds against me because he probably realizes I'm a pretty tough player, and the other 2 guys at the table really are pretty weak players. So not really worried about that. Certainly a little bit worried about pocket 5s and pocket 4s in this situation. Slightly worried, I suppose, about maybe king deuce of spades, or ace deuce of spades, or ace 3 of spades. But I think he has enough deuces, 3s, 6s, 7s sort of hands here that I can continue to barrel. And I think he's going to be folding all of those on the turn. What happens instead is that I get small raised here. Now, this is a situation where against most opponents, I'd actually be extremely scared about this. Turn check raises for the most part, going to be really strong, particularly in a spot where he just limp called in the small blind, which is going to be a situation where you're going to be fit or fold more often than not. With that said, though, I had an extremely glaring note that said that I took a couple months ago that said he makes strange bluffs on the turn in three bet pots and in raise pots. So I took that information and just simply shoved on him. He snap folded, and it's the sort of thing that I don't think a lot of players probably would have won this pot, or they might have won the pot just based on, not believing that his ranges would really be check raising here, not believing pocket fives, or that he could have, or ace deuce or ace three of spades would be raising here. Regardless of the situation, though, it's going to always be absolutely critical to you guys that the more notes you take and the more work that you take away, that you have away from the table, is always going to pay off for you in the end.